Okay, Sir Ronald, very quickly, bago natin pag-usapan ng opposition, obviously, Bam Aquino, Chel, Kiko Pangilinan, etc. We discussed them, but I want to discuss them more because I had some thoughts also about this. And kanina, of course, for disclosure, I already posted it, but I had also meeting with Bam and all because I'm trying to arrange also a podcast with him and hopefully interview more and more candidates, no, over the coming months as we get next to the elections. But konting pahabol lang dito. We're not talking about Vico Soto at all, and he's gonna run also next year. And my sense is he'll run for mayor again, third term. Now I want to talk about the Vico Soto case because if Risa Ontiveros is on one hand a very very inspiring case, I would say Vico Soto is also very inspiring because it gives you an idea that there's a next generation after Risa, which also is millennial, effectively millennials. And hindi ko pa alam Gen Zs, I'm sure they'll be even better than us, but at least he's the millennial progressive star, right? And he's a star in a very interesting way, right? He has the celebrity status, but he acts in an anti-celebrity way. Wala siyang pinapamigay na interview whatsoever. Now, by chance, just the other day, interestingly, I caught some, alam mo yung mga YouTube news sites na hindi naman mainstream, at pinapakita itong speech by Vico Soto where, very interestingly, he explains yung kanyang renewal projects na, yung bagong City Hall nila, which is a 9.6 billion pesos project. So obviously, yung mga kalaban nila, alam na natin sila mga to, hindi na natin kailangang pangalanan, itago na lang natin
mga Eusebio.
Itago na lang natin sa ano. Siyempre, marami nagmamarites dyan at sinasabi, baka ano yan, di ba? So he very patiently explained point by point bakit ganito yung presyo, hindi ito yung final price, ito yung approved project, ito yung kailangan, ito yung basahin nyo. So the guy spent 10 minutes at least explaining just the big picture. And then he released the video with the videos, everything like that. I just found parang he did it like a Scandinavian mayor, right? Or like a Hamburg mayor. Like you could imagine if Scholz, when he was mayor of Hamburg, he would do something like that when he explains a big project. You know, kind of very social democratic, mayor talking to the people, citizenry. I just found that very refreshing. Hindi siya galit, hindi siya pikon, pero very firm. Very firm na, don't say nonsense there, okay? I'm gonna call that out. Maayos. Maayos yung pagkagawa niya. I mean, ikaw, what is your read of Vico Soto? Because we're not talking about him as much now, but come 2027, he's gonna be the hot commodity, not yet for president, but definitely for a national position and beyond.
Well, nowadays kasi, lalong nagiging totoo yung dictum that all politics is local. At nakita natin, yung dito sa Makati ni Binay, propelled him to the vice presidency from out of nowhere. Diba? Actually, hindi siya yung original na kandidato ni ERAP for the vice presidency. Ang original was Cheese. Pero hindi tinanggap
And Mar was at 40%. For months. I mean, like almost prohibitive winner, yeah.
Yes, pero yung kanyang narrative is just dito sa Makati. Ibig sabihin,
pinapakita... Ganito kami sa Makati, di maging ganito ang bayan.
Yeah. Kung kaya namin gawin ito, kaya rin namin ito gawin on a national level. Ganun din si Duterte to some extent. No? Yung hype about him is because he was a mayor who allegedly cleaned Davao. At kung kaya niyang linisin yung Davao, kaya niyang linisin yung bansa. Ang problema, iba yung ibig sabihin na ng clean Davao. At yun yung kanyang ginawa sa paglinis sa bansa. At hindi
naman malinis ang Davao, I mean in a literal sense.
At hindi na nasolusyonan yung problema. No? So, pero makikita mo na compelling yung local narrative. Kaya pwedeng gawin niya ni Vico Soto as a narrative. No? Pero hindi mo yan sinisimulan lang pagtatakbo ka na for national position. Kailangan ngayon ay i-hype mo na rin. No? Lakasan mo na rin. Others should do it for him. Dahil siya kasi ay very circumspect, very humble, etc. So, hindi mo maasahan siya yung mangunguna dyan. So, others should do it for him. Knowing na hindi naman sapat na tahimik ka lang. Hindi naman sapat na doon lang sa mga marginal na mga social media kalalabas. Kailangan mag-mainstream ka rin.
Kailangan podcast na R&R.
At kailangan maging brand. Diba? Maging brand siya, maging household brand siya. Yung Vico Soto brand. Ano bang peg niyan? kumbaga pag naisip ng tao si Vico Soto, lalabas yung peg na yon.
Parang Vicky Bello ka naman.
Oo.
Parang kang dapat Vicky Bello, meron ka rin branding, di ba?
Oo, parang Vicky Bello, may brand. Pag pinaisip mo si Vicky Bello, naisip mo yung kanyang brand. So kailangan din may ganun din si Vico Soto, no?
Oo,
Pero
mag-collect lang sila ng mga videos
panahon
na
ngayon ng mga local na nagiging national, no? Kaya nga very compelling din yung narrative ni Mayor Magalong, di ba? Very compelling din.
and by the way, the two are working together from what I understand.
Yes.
Part of the same movement. There'll be an event soon, by the way. I'm sure you're also aware. So yeah, of course, Mayor Magalong, also a friend of ours. Yeah, so the two are working together because I think they both understand they're on the same boat, right?
Yeah. So maraming mga local na mag-aspire for national using what did they do well or good on the local level.
And just going rewind a little bit and then we'll fast forward. Ako ang basa ko talaga had Biden had Binay not attended those debates, especially yung first debate na yung especially yung TV5 debate, even more than the GMA debate, no? I think he had a very good chance of winning it because for me, without Binay coming down, I didn't see any chance for Mayor Duterte to go up. I mean, Makati, Davao, no offense. I mean, Binay, mas benta talaga si Binay, di ba? In every sense of the word. And mas compelling yung position niya. So I think really the collapse of Binay was really the most decisive factor for the victory of Rodrigo Duterte, di ba? Kasi siya yung parang backup mayor plan di ba? I mean, the real mayor president plan was Binay, even though he was coming as a vice president. What do you read about that? I mean, there are many factors that explain Duterte's victory, but for me, the fall of Binay was really a big element. I think the biggest element, if ever, yeah.
Yeah. Siyempre maraming variables dyan ngayon may benefit tayo ng hindsight. Pero nung nangyayari yan, hindi pa natin naiisip yung mga bagay na yan, no? Halimbawa, kung nakasuhan si Digong noong 2013 ni Laila de Lima.
Yung mga counterfactual na to,
sa killing ng DDS sa Davao, then tapos na siya. Kaso may mga unseen hand na kumilos at hindi natuloy yung kaso na yan. Kaya galit na galit si Digong.
Kasalanan nyo yan admin nyo yan
Kaya
Admin
galit na
nyo yan,
galit.
bakit nyo hindi yan?
Pero yung tumugi sa kanya si Laila. Admin namin, di ba? Pero may mga nangyari kaya hindi natuloy. No? Pero kung natuloy yun, baka iba yung narrative ngayon. Halimbawa, kung hindi na investigahan si Binay dun sa kanyang farm, yung kanyang mga hogs na naka-aircon, no? Yung
Yun lang. Yun yung original na lumaki sa farm.
Yung green building.
Yung
Yung green building na parking building ng kanyang anak sa Makati na there's green. There's nothing green about that except the paint possibly, no? Yung napaka-overpriced na mga gamit sa Makati Hospital, di ba? So kung hindi nangyari 'yon, baka unstoppable si Binay even with the Digong running, no? So yun yung tapos
pero
Ronald,
kasalanan namin yan kasi kami nag-expose yan. I mean, Philippine Daily Inquirer, when I say kami, I mean, it was front page of Philippine Daily Inquirer. How many months? I mean, how many months?
Yeah. Tapos, kung hindi nawala yung narrative ni Grace Poe, yung foundling narrative na very compelling, going into the campaign, no?
Which ginagaya ni Go, di ba? If you look at Mayor Go's game, parang gusto niya mag-Grace Poe effect, di ba?
Clearly, apples and oranges yun, no? Magkaiba yun. Pero, very compelling yun. Pero nagulat ako, at the start of the campaign, nawala yung founding narrative. And she began to sound like a traditional politician. Di ba? So, nawala yung pagiging sariwa ni Grace Poe. Nawala yung very compelling narrative as a foundling. Nawala yung FPJ mystic. At napunta na during the debate yung mga usual na sagot ng mga politiko. So maraming mga variables na looking back, kung hindi nagbago, pwedeng si Binay, pwedeng hindi si Digong, pwedeng si Grace Poe, di ba? Yun yung huwag natin kalimutan, number 2 si Mar. He got more than 10 million votes. Ibig sabihin,
pero ang baba ng second preference niya.
He wasn't
Parang he meet already his
Yes, but he wasn't a pushover. no?
He was not. No, he was not.
Dahil
Yeah.
number 2 siya eh. Si si Binay 5 million yata, tapos si Grace po bumaba na talaga, no? So it could have been anybody's ball game. Depende sa mga pangyayari, no? Na tinitingnan
Swerte talaga. I'm just telling you na gaano ka swerte si Digong kasi it took 10 factor stars coming together for that happen. Any one of them, the graceful thing, the Binay thing, I mean, he could have thought just one of them didn't work.
Laila de Lima thing. Di
Ang
ba?
dami, ang dami ko. Kaya nga sabi ko, I don't believe na inevitable yung kay Digong. There was nothing inevitable. There was something shocking in a sense that I understand populism, its appeal, whatever. I've written books on that. But ang point ko is, swerte din talaga siya eh. Yung the fact na yung replacement niya. Yung replacement niya.
Early 2015 eh. Sinasabi ko yung kila Pinoy eh. Natatakbo si Digong. Nung sinasabi ni Digong na hindi siya tatakbo. Sabi nila, hindi tatakbo yan.
And everyone's underestimating him. Yeah, I remember that.
Yun yung tapos nung nagkuha na siya, nagsimula na siyang magsabi na tatakbo ako kung. Sabi ko, di ba? Tatakbo.
Alam na this. Yeah,
ang sabi naman nila ay kung tumakbo si Digong, pabor sa atin yan. Makakabawa siya ng boto.
I know, exactly. That was the logic, right?
So,
that you thought he's the idiot who will do the dirty job for yung pala, he'll steal your lunch.
Yes. So, nung late na, mga Enero na nakita siya as the main enemy. That was already the start of the official campaign.
Yeah, you're right. Just to be clear, on the record, August, September pa lang sabi ko he's gonna be the dark horse when no one believed him. He was 3%.
Sabi ko February, I was in a birthday party in
February 2015 just to remind people. So this
in Gloria Maris,
exactly.
February 9, 2015 sa Gloria Maris. I was there when pumunta si Bongo at saka si Lito Banayo at saka si Digong na kinausap nila sa ERAP para hiramin si Ben Jokno at saka si Liling Briones to be part of their kitchen cabinet. So that early, nagbubuo na ng kitchen cabinet si Digong. Habang everybody thought hindi siya tatakbo dahil yun ang sinasabi niya. No?
I think Ronald, the fact na meron tayong...
I felt like a voice in the wilderness. Walang naniniwala sa akin.
Dapat tayong friends nun. Dapat nun tayong may R&R. Imagine kung may R&R tayo nun. Tayong dalawa yung nag-warning about Digong. No, I think because we're steeped in...
I even have a picture of that meeting. I even have a picture.
Yeah. No, I realize because we're steeped in progressive and European history, alam natin where fascism comes from, where populism comes from. So I think that's where yung parang hindi ko i-underestimate yan eh. And in my case kasi, I've been following Modi, Jokowi, Erdogan. So parang, why wouldn't we have one in the Philippines na nakakatakot version ng populism na worse than ERAP? And here we are. But thank you for that. Now let's talk about the real opposition. So now, but I'm just reminding people, there was nothing inevitable with Digong. Talagang naswerte lang talaga siya. So many things came to. Kaya dapat sana hindi ulitin. Kaya dapat matuto natin yung lessons. Yeah.